What's going on? Hold on, let me make sure I got live chat. Can you guys hear me and see me before I start going off on tangents over here? Normally, I do my pre-recorded Monday headlines at 5:30, but this weekend got a bit busy, and that just wasn't in the cards, so that'll be a next Monday thing. Um, in any case, I made some phone calls today. Some folks, hey, winning streak, hey, devil dog. Some folks that hey, Nanya, that work for other entities, and we'll just leave it at that. And I'm asking, how the hell did this happen? And I'm talking about what's going on overseas. And I think the best reply I got, they said it was either one of the best intelligence operations, one of the worst intelligence failures, or someone turned a blind eye to let them attack to justify a response. And then you start going down tinfoil hat lane. So I started looking at other things. What else is happening in the news? And to be honest, I had to struggle. Hey, Hayes Gray, what's going on? Joe, what's up? Cold War, hello? Bunch of people are at the Roy Potter chat putting hate on Israel if they respond. All the writings of Apostle Paul. Oh, wow. Sounds like they're getting heated over there. Stand down. Hey, what's up, Leslie? Hello, Yardbirds. So it makes you wonder what else is happening in the news. So I started doing some digging. And I think Angry Prepper touched on it. So did Economic Ninja, the banking situation. So right now, there was a pretty sizable hack. And I can't remember, it was some weird bank. But apparently, 800,000 people had their information compromised. Hey, Warden. And that was, Johnny, that's hey, Ghetto, that's one of the many theories going around, is it was a justification to go and use a hammer because they've been a pain in the ass to each other for years. And government offices are closed. I'm not sure all of them, and not the Indigenous Day, but my post office is closed. This, not thus. No, I figured it was Siri was messing with you, that voice to text stuff. Excuse me. So, hey, Carpenter, what's going on? I'm punchy, stabby feelings, and I need some action. There you go. So right now, there's I'm watching some of these economic reports because I'm like, okay, what is this going to do to the economy? Because that's going to hit us in the Western world pretty quick. And one report had that there's several banks right now are struggling, but they've not been advertising that they're in trouble. Part of the problem is, so think of it this way: a lot of companies or a lot of banks had very heavy real estate portfolios, right? After Rona, everyone worked from home. So commercial real estate took a big hit. It's still, Joe's out of his cage again. It's still taking a big hit. And so Family Feud, it started at the beginning of time. Yeah, it's been forever. So with the hit in the commercial real estates, the derivatives also went down. And the derivatives, I guess the best way I've heard it explained, and this was another YouTuber, was they make an investment, but to cover their possible losses, they take an insurance policy that will cover the loss of the investment so that they can pay back the clients of the bank. And then they take another insurance policy to cover the first insurance policy, and it starts doing this weird, like, overlapping insurances and investments, and it just, hey, Mama Red, it just kind of gets shady. Well, when the interest rates started going up at the same time, the Rona started crushing commercial real estate, and people haven't fully gone back to real estate, to the offices 100%. it really hit these banks hard. Now, a lot of them also jumped into bonds and treasuries and whatnot. And with the increasing interest rates, they're getting less money. This is why Silicon Valley cratered, because they were very heavy in commercial real estate and bonds. Banks were was in right before C19. Well, Yardbirds, you could propose that C19 helped cause a commercial real estate crash so that the banks would crater. And maybe somebody has a solution to banks cratering. I'm just saying, and it's tinfoil hat time. But either way, regardless, there are a lot of banks struggling right now. No one's talking about it. Everyone's talking about Eastern Europe and they're talking about the Middle East, which are important things to talk about. What's the market going to do in the next week? Made us come back to the office minimum 3 days a week. See, cheap liquor. Hey, coffee. Oh, so, God, I think one of the corgis just farted. That is an eye-watering fart. Holy cow. I don't know what that dog ate. God. Oof. I don't know what that was. Did you fart? No, she didn't. The other one ran away. He probably, when I made that face, he's like, bye-bye. Anyway, if you think about it, there's a lot of instability going on in the market. I mean, vehicles that were $40,000 before are now 60, 70, 80. It could be squirrel farts, who knows? There's a lot going on behind the scenes, and it's very hard to find it because we're inundated right now with Israel and Ukraine. Now, you notice it's funny, a few of you even pointed out, well, no, she's not here, so I can't blame her, Joe. That would have been a good one, but yeah. And Yardbirds, that's absolutely true. That's a great way. So China's real estate market is cratering right now. Okay, and half their buildings are garbage anyway. We're having commercial real estate disasters. Our banks can't provide enough cash or capital to cover even 3% of what they've got going on, which is what the feds have asked them to do, because the feds said the FDIC, what insures our bank accounts, will become insolvent very soon, according to one report. So you have all these overlapping issues. Now, my concern is, and hear me out, this is purely hypothesis, so don't take this for Israel is having and Hamas are punching each other in the bar, right? Iran is assumed to have provoked Hamas to go punch Israel. Now, 200 hours from who's watching this crap. This is a bunch of your friends wanting to hear your stories, man. Um, and that's the other thing, winning streak. There's residential stuff going up, but nobody can afford it. Because if you go from a 3% fixed to an 8%, it almost doubles your mortgage payment. It just doesn't make any sense. Billy, that's another thing. The debt, the national debt is ridiculous. But you look at these overlapping issues. Now, my fear is, here we have Israel and Hamas are in a bar fight that now they're claiming Iran may have provoked. Iran is a major producer of oil. Now, if Israel goes over here and smacks the crap out of Iran in an airstrike or does something else, that's absolutely going to send the energy prices into turmoil. And if that happens, that's going to shock the market, in which case it's going to go down. Yeah, of course they blame Iran. Well, you have your usual bad guys, Iran, North Korea, Russia, China. It's been the same way since the Cold War, man. I think we were talking about that the other day in one of the chats. Anyway, the market's kind of unstable, and it's we're 6 out of the 2. There's a lot going on that doesn't make sense as far as this incident. I mean, either this was brilliantly planned, or someone absolutely screwed up, or they let it go. Because there's nothing to help Israel right now. Well, Mad Dogs, there's a lot of like I said in the earlier live, there's a lot of people right now. We're joking out here about Yeah, we could use our over-unders and shoot down the damn, ultralights and whatnot. We're just making fun. But the truth is, the market is probably what's going to hurt us before any conflict, at least in the Western side. When I say West, I mean the Western Hemisphere, Canada, US, Mexico. Of course, then there's concern that people already here could be bad players, which we've all discussed ad nauseum in the prepper channels. So, what I'm going to do, and I'll keep this kind of concise, I'm going to watch where's energy going because it kind of leveled out. Is it going to jump? Because think about it, if Iran wanted to increase the price of oil to make a bunch of money, why not provoke Hamas to go fight with Israel to create a big shit show? And in a few days, everyone will freak out. It'll spike oil, and Venezuela, Iran, all the BRICS nations will start making that revenue. And Johnny, that's a good point too. Hey, Teresa, is there are reports that the Ukrainian weapons have wound up everywhere else. So what the hell's going on? Is this one of those Air America type things that went wrong and we've just armed a bunch of assholes all over the world? Right, Mad Dogs. And we have that. That's the other thing that concerns me. If you watch Angry Prepper did like an 8-10 minute video earlier today, and part of what he said, and I've already heard it from some folks who live on the East Coast, is there's a lot of concern that the synagogues, the mosques are going to go after each other. Because there's a lot of hate for Israel. There's a lot of hate for Hamas too. So these are, again, it's bread and circuses type stuff. But at the same time, this can spill over and affect us. And I honestly, I could be completely wrong, guys. Unless we outright have a terror attack, I think what's going to hurt us here in the Western Hemisphere is going to be the market, the energy prices, and the supply chain before something happens. Now, to Mad Dog's point, if you're in an area where you have these conflicting cultures and they are pissed right now, right? In Brooklyn, you have a large group of Russians and a large group of Ukrainians, and they had their little to do, but it's nowhere near as ancient a hatred as the Islamic Israelite hatred. And this goes back, to Cain and Abel, and back in the ancient times. So if you're in those cities, you need to pay attention. Your situational awareness needs to be updated if it's not already. Um, Pay attention to the news if you're traveling, if you're on the road like I am. If anyone, so I'm trying to read coffees. Anyone think it's a coincidence? We had an alert here and they had one in R, and all of a sudden no one saw it coming. The biggest intelligence, no one knew. Yeah, nothing bad ever happens here. That's good. But to Coffee's point, yeah, this is one of the most secure nations in the world. They're known for being the example of counterterrorism and intelligence, and they either missed this or they completely got misled. Someone royally screwed up, or they didn't think it was going to happen. They got too overconfident. And you notice it was on an Israeli holiday, right? It was a Shabbat, but it was also it was a Sabbath, but it was a different holiday on top of the Sabbath, not the Passover. One of you guys probably knows. Help me out here. So, it has a condensed but very informative series on the history of this conflict. Yeah, that's true, Billy. Yeah, the U.S. is a problem. Ghetto is a little too big for a false flag, but I would believe if they were like, let them try, because if they do, we'll hammer them on the head, and they just let it happen, and then it went overboard or went over the top, and they're like, okay, now we have to respond. There's so many questions about what happened, and it's really hard. Simchat Torah, thank you, Texas Surplus Pro. So much like the Yom Kippur War, it happened on an Israeli Hebrew holiday. But I would watch the markets because I think, and again, I could be wrong, 100%. I think the markets are going to destabilize. Hey, Alpha Zero, welcome. We're your back, and we always have your back. Just to say that people around here appreciate you guys a lot. Finland is pretty. I've not been there. The closest I've been was Vienna. I was supposed to go further north, but then they canceled my trip. So, hey, Homestead in the hood, Brooklyn in the house. I've not experienced any tension. Just outside house with no problem. See, that's good. I'm glad that that's not an issue. And again, it could be overblown. What's happening there is a very ancient, very old hatred. There's a very old rivalry there, and it's very complicated. I mean, as someone pointed out, there's been going back and forth since the ancient times, and then it was renewed during the Palestine and the recreation of Israel. But either way, my fear is if it expands, it's going to expand into the energy producing regions very quickly, and that may be where over the trick is to give someone better to do. Hey, really? Amazon doesn't come now. Go away, stupid boys. I don't want you either. Hey, Lucky. Exactly. For centuries, for millennia, Lucky. For millennia. But point is, if we get hit with anything here in the States, aside from localized attacks, now, yeah, you have the possibility of terrorism from wherever quarter, it will probably hit the market first, and that's where we're going to feel it in the West, in the Western Hemisphere. Now, you do have the wild cards of somebody said that the IDF got massively hacked, and it took down or discombobulated the Iron Dome and a lot of their communications and defenses. That's absolutely possible. They don't know where it came from. Of course, they blame Iran, but we don't know if it's Iran. Um, if you winning streak, if you're going to ship anything, uh, yeah, check the shipping costs. But you have that wild card of a random terror attack or some planned terror attack. But a hack, they say the Israel got hacked pretty massively, and that took down the comms for about an hour or two, just long enough. Oh, you mean shipping channels? I got you. Um, just long enough to allow that window of opportunity. You do have the fact that, of course, Iran and Israel don't like each other, and Israel is making a treaty with Saudi, and Iran and Saudi don't like each other. So, back and forth there. Now, there's also been a report, and I need to check, that Egypt tried to warn Israel and said, hey, um, we just got wind of something, and you need to put your ears to the ground, but it wasn't communicated to the right people in Israel. I don't know if that's true. I know Turkey asked the U.S. to please not get involved because they will have to defend Palestine or Gaza. So all of a sudden it got really complicated. We have, I believe it was Slovakia, just got a pro-Russian prime minister, unless he lost the election. I thought he was expected to win by a bit. So you have even Hungary, some of these countries that are technically in NATO, suddenly becoming very pro-Russian. So all the map is moving, and it's moving in real time. So it's kind of hard to perceive what's happening. But I do believe, other than the outside chance of a hacker or terror attack or Russians, yeah, this is true. My best guess is your NSA is very aware of this. Putin wants to start. No, Alpha Zero, you're absolutely right. Alpha, if this was truly a complete head fake and they created a distraction here and then executed, it was probably one of the best asymmetric attacks I've read about or seen since the German paratroopers landed on the other side of the Maginot Line in World War II and totally screwed up the French, just as the Blitzkrieg came. So, yeah, there's so many players involved. And again, even if they say, well, like the hack came from Iran, well, it could have been bounced off an Iranian IP from North Korea, right? There are a lot of pieces that don't make sense. So we could go on for hours about where these various parts fall. What I think is going to, dude, Why are you licking that? There's no food there. So I have this potato who's decided to wedge himself under my chair and under my foot to try to get Cheerios or some other thing that fell under the counter. But his head doesn't fit, so he's trying to stick his tongue there like a damn anteater to suck out the Cheerios. Um, Hold on, I lost track of the chat here. Hey, Papa's Forum. Hey, Canadian. Where was Mossad? They know everything. Right. There are a lot of things. Uh, my concern is one, if it expands, let's just hypothetically say it gets Iran involved or Saudi or Qatar or whatever country, energy price is going to take off. The strategic reserve in the US is low. We all know that. The prices have been going up. We know that. The countries that will benefit the most, ironically, would be Venezuela, Iran, and Russia if the prices take off the other way, along with Saudi and a few other OPEC nations. Um, China, I don't think China really benefits other than that it's a big distraction from whatever the hell they're trying to do in the Pacific. And sadly, I don't know if the US is still that country that can fight wars on two fronts the way it did in World War II during the Cold War. I don't think that's where we are right now as a nation. And I hate to, it breaks my heart to say it, but I think it's true. I would watch the market. Well, Alpha Zero, that didn't come in quickly. Like that had to have been, this operation had to have been months in the planning, at least. The very fact, look, you take anyone new, put them on a parasail, the first 3 times they go in the water, they're going to eat shit. Every single one of those ultralights and the parasails and however the hell they came over, flew over, they were slow, granted. Every one of them landed correctly. There's not a single video on social media where one of the Hamas guys came down and wow, and they crashed, right? None of them. They landed right on top of a rave. I don't know if that was opportunistic or if they knew there was going to be a big party, but there was a slew of potential hostages and victims right there. And what's the IDF going to do? They're not going to counterattack with 1,000 kids dancing in this party or however many were there. Right. So you have Ukraine, you have Winning Street. Joe got in a war. While we're on the subject, I feel most of this chat is going to be used. Joe, there was a book called "War is a Racket." It was written by an old Marine whose name escapes me right now, but it's on my to read list. But Prepper Book Club, honestly, it's very often a low tech hit that does the most damage, right? You think about like the Oklahoma City bombing. It was a white creeper minivan with fertilizer and some accelerants, and the guy just knew how to put everything together. And I mean, look at the magnitude of what he did. They basically took down the Edward Murrow building in Oklahoma. So whatever it was that happened, if it expands, it's right in the middle of, I guess, the central production zones of energy. And that's going to be very disruptive to the Suez Canal. And that's why I say supply chain, because, if Iran gets into it, they're going to try and blockade, they're going to cause a bunch of crap. Where is the missing A nitrate? Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff. So there's a lot going on. Watch where the markets go because that's going to dictate availability and pricing. I'm also curious how it's going to affect supply chain. Because right now, Egypt and the UK are kind of stewards of the Suez Canal. Is someone going to go for the Suez? Probably not, because that would definitely, then you'd have you could potentially have a Shiite Sunni issue with each other, with Israel kind of caught in the middle of that mess. So I don't know if that's in anybody's best interest down there. But again, it's a lot going on, and I wouldn't wait. I would get anything you can on your budget right now. This Prepper Book Club, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would end very poorly. And Egypt's a pretty decent military power. They're pretty well trained and equipped, and they've trained with both the Russians and the Americans, so they know what they're doing. Uh, make sure you're topped off. Make sure you understand your personal finances, your budget, if you need something. If the market goes hinky, if the banks start having their own issue because of the interest rates and the commercial real estates, you want to be able to understand how these parts come together to affect you. You don't want to run up debt. If you can't pay for it in cash or break it up in payments at no interest, you may want to hold off unless it's an absolute need. Um, and book club, yeah, absolutely. They hit a couple of refineries or chemical plants. Look what happened in Ohio. They basically evacuated multiple towns because of a train derailment. So there's a lot going on. I would recommend everyone watch what's happening. As I said in my earlier live stream, watch what's happening on the ground, both in Gaza and in Israel, how the civilians are trying to survive, because we can learn a lot from what they're going through because they've gone through this before and they go through it multiple times more than we will in the States. Um, Also, watch the markets because if you're paying attention, listen to what investors are doing, right? Remember last year I said companies are going cash heavy. They're reducing their loans, reducing debt, selling off equipment because they knew this year was going to be very inflationary. They kind of prepared for that. Financially speaking, you can do the same. Understand how these things come together, and it can definitely put you in a better place to fight the fight if things become unavailable, if things become very expensive. You're in a good position. I wouldn't freak out and like close all your bank accounts. You may have already decided, I don't need banks anyway. But understand what your specific financial situation and personal situation is. If you don't need it, don't get it, Wolfgang. I'm here from the government. Yeah, he's here from Ohio government. Also, again, and I've said it before, look for the sales. A lot of stores are still putting stuff on sale because, in theory, we have holiday shopping. We're in October already, so once Halloween hits, they've already got damn Christmas trees in some of the Walmarts out here. Now's a great time. Hey, Wolfgang, now's a great time to see if you can find those things you may have put off, the hiking boots, the jacket, whatever it is, at a discount, right? I only buy cigarettes, burritos, and tacos from the lovely illegal Latinas. They love cash. I'll tell you what, Johnny, some of the best stuff I've found was backroom stuff in various places. It's just like you're like, hey, I want this. No, no, we can't do that. And it's like my son-in-law, he speaks like 10 words of Spanish, but he learned an efectivo, which means in effective cash. I have in cash. And all of a sudden, man, he changed the dynamic of multiple little discussions he had traveling South America. They're like, oh, en efectivo, bueno. And all of a sudden, deals were made, and he haggles like an old man, which is funny. Uh, but which I love about the guy. I think he's great. But point being, look for those deals. Don't run up debt. Don't do anything deleting persons and similar. Yeah, guys, don't do that. Let's try not to delete or unalive folks. Bulletproof if you found that I have these items. Get it? Yeah. Hey, if you're in Florida, then you might be able to use that swimsuit in the winter. Thank you, Lucky. I didn't see that. I appreciate you catching that. Yeah, if one of the mods, if there's something that may get all of us busted, if you wanna just you don't have to mute the person, just remove the comment. That's fine. Um, but and check your gear. Now's a great time. Throw on the backpack, go to the gym, whatever it is. There's a lot of stuff we can do very cheap or for free to make ourselves ready. But again, I don't expect that to come here unless it comes as a terror attack or a hack. My fear with the terror attack is we have, however many, maybe a couple of million new immigrants, not all of whom have been vetted. And you don't need a lot. You only need, 50 guys, 100 guys or girls who are trained to do some nefarious shit, and they absolutely will cause a bunch of stuff. That aside, watch the markets, Watch what the banks are doing in the next few days. Watch what the market does in the next few days. The fact that Costco is selling gold bullion should tell you something. Countries are buying gold and silver. Again, not financial advice. You do what you think's right. But even the corporations are switching the way they're maneuvering, right? They're changing their behavior. And they have entire groups of people who get paid a lot of money to analyze shit that we all talk about on YouTube, for free because we're just conjecturing. Yeah, Lucky. Supposedly, even in somebody said the one in Lubbock, and I think there's no Costco in Killeen. Is there? Is it in Waco? I'm not a Costco member because we don't have one here, uh, but they said it's like the little bullion things. It's behind the glass. So you know how it is in these big box stores. You get the little cardboard and you scan it, and then they go and bring you your product from the locked area. So, and precious metals are the new fidget spinner. Um, Although that's been a fidget spinner since the days of the pharaoh, Joe. You got to admit that. But still, they built a Samson Korean Fort Hood a while back. Okay, I saw the car. 75,000 military-aged Chinese men have crossed the Mexican border into America. And by the way, Mexico now has an immigration problem because they're coming here and they're destroying Mexico in the process. I got friends who are down there and they're like, this is a pain in the ass. And the federales give zero shit in their southern border. They're punching and pepper spraying people left and right. Um, but yeah, it's never a bad investment. Like I bought gold when it was silver when it was like $10 an ounce, and now it's 25. And again, it's inflation and all. Joe. Well, Joe, if you could, you'd go to Mexico and hang out there, and you'd be the happiest camper in the world, man. Cheap beer and sun, man. You'd be a happy dude. Hell, I'd be a happy dude. Who am I kidding? I try to get my lady friends on board with Pew. Nope, they're fine. See, and actually, it's funny. I have a clay shoot this Friday, and half the team are ladies, um, and they don't get to go out and shoot as much. But a couple of them, one's a bird hunter, and one's actually a skeet shooter, and one's new. So I only have one newbie, which is fine. I can manage that. But yeah, you know, pay attention, watch the markets. I think the market's going to do weird shit this week. It may come to nothing, but it doesn't hurt to know what may happen and how it can affect you. Again, I think it's going to be an inflationary effect, supply chain, and energy price, which the energy price is the inflationary factor to me anyway. If you got range time, go for it. You saw my community post this weekend. If you all you can do is take time to an inventory, clean an inventory, that's fine too. Hell, if you take some of your preps and make a meal out of them to make sure you know how to cook the shit you're prepping, that's a free prep. You already paid for it. And you get to make dinner. Maybe the kids will be quiet when you feed them a bunch of rice or something. Hold on. There's a good hedge against collapse. 1 ounce of Venezuela is 5 million plus local currency. Oh, wow. I might get flagged at the border last time I got pulled over. Oh, nice. There are a lot of problems. Oh, hey, Homestead. Sorry, I lost some of you. Women and children in the refugee center. Yeah, that's actually, I've seen videos of the officer. They grade out the young lady who's trying to talk to her. And she's not talking, but her friend is saying that somebody tried to attack her and they created a commotion, managed to get the guy off. But yeah, absolutely. And a lot of these females and children are not making it to their destination because they're getting siphoned off for trafficking. Yes, get your cars in order, do your oil changes, tires. If you've already done it, great, nothing to worry about. Top off your tank. The worst case, you don't have to top it off again until next week or whenever you normally top it off. Um, Joe wrestling with the neighborhood gal. So pay attention to the markets. Don't panic. Don't freak out. Now's a great time to assess where you're at. And if you need a skill set, if there's something you don't know how to can, you don't know how to properly store in Mylar, pull up YouTube videos. I've got YouTube. Lucky's got some. There are a bunch of creators in here who have a bunch of videos with different ways of doing things. Check it out. Hey, Raccoon Eyes. No, you do not. Raccoon eyes, I don't know what state you're in. Typically, if you go to most ranges, they will have an FFL, a federal firearm licensee, as well as a range master. They typically will have firearms you can rent. You may have to give them your license, so they'll hold it on the clipboard while you go shoot. If you're new, ask, tell them, hey, I am a new shooter. I would like to learn how to shoot X. They will go, okay, then Pennsylvania, I can go to Pennsylvania with pretty much everything I own in Texas. So I would go find a local range, and you don't just go into a few at first and just talk to them. You're going to find one that feels comfortable, that they'll talk to you and you feel comfortable there, and then ask them, hey, do you do classes, and can someone instruct me in range time? Some will do it for free. You rent the gun, the guy will go or girl will go in with you and instruct you in the shooting lane. Some will charge you $30 and they'll do a whole class with a group of new shooters. So ask around, but I'd visit a couple of ranges, just walk in and say, hey, I'm new to shooting. Can I rent, and can I get instruction here? And if they come off condescending, don't stay there. Go to another range, because a good range will always be open to people coming in and saying, "Hey, I need to learn," and they should be excited about that. So, yeah, Joe, if Raccoon gets to that point, taking a good conceal class is good. And remember, every person is different. So, just because, somebody shoots a Glock and someone shoots a Beretta, right? They're always going to say, oh, yeah, shoot this one, buy this one, don't buy anything. Go to the range, tell them, I'd like to learn. These are my requirements. If they're a good instructor, they're going to say, okay, well, what do you want it for? Is it carry, personal defense, home defense, going to the woods? Because that can be totally different firearms. Then they'll also look, how tall are you, how big are your hands, etc. What's your experience? And then they'll try and find a few that will match your need. And then you can hold them. They'll let you hold them empty and kind of see, hey, Hunter, if that's, bye, Daryl, be safe. Yes, and Lucky's absolutely right. Um, they have women only classes. They're even instructors. Oh, there are a lot of lady instructors now, like a boatload of female instructors. So you can probably find an instructor who's a lady, or you have a women's only class or beginners only class, so that you don't have, GI Joe in the corner being an ass while you're trying to learn something productively. But go to a few different ranges and just talk to them, and there's some ranges and gun stores here, I won't even talk to them. I've walked in there and they got shitty with me, and I'm like, you know what? I'll spend my money and time elsewhere. Triple Threat is in Georgia. Yeah, if she was in Pennsylvania, it'd be perfect. But we do need to. I want to retire. Are you kidding me? And no, North Virginia, give me a shout. So yeah, you should be able to, Raccoon, and yeah, if they're not, still got my card. Piss poor dangerous instructor. True story, winning streak. I went to the range, already had my license, and I went to a range. It was on a Saturday, an outdoor range in Houston, and there were a bunch of us lined out. And it's if you go to the same range like on the same day every couple of weeks, you start running into the same people. So I go there, and there was this Korean guy who's a veteran. He was a ROK Marine or some Republic of Korea, and he now lives here. His grandpa opened a restaurant or some shit. So anyway, I'd run into him and the old man every other Saturday and be like, "Hey, what's up?" And they were there shooting, right? And this oaf shows up, and he just pours firearms on his part of the table, just like the way a kid spills Legos. And everyone else at the range, we're all shooting. We looked at him, and we all put our pistols down, like, who is this fool? And he goes, oh, well, yeah. He's smoking, which, again, they say no smoking on the range, right? And it was dry grass. So, yeah, let's set the range on fire while we're an idiot. He, he's smoking, and he couldn't shoot worth a shit. He jammed his own pistols. His pistols were dirty. And so he's like, I'm having trouble. Blah, blah, blah. And then he says, yeah, I've got to teach a concealed class this Saturday. And so the Korean guy goes, you're an instructor? Oh, yeah, I've been instructing for a couple of years now. And I'm like, oh, can I have your card? I kid you not. I took a picture of that card, texted it to all my friends, said, this guy's an asshat. Do not go to his class. He will get someone hurt. This guy's a fool. But yeah, it's no. You go in there, you talk to them, you will see the way they act behind the counter, and you will know whether or not you want to get in. And if you know someone who is a concealed handgun shooter or is a hunter, someone who has some experience, bring them with you. Bribe them with a coffee or bribe them with tacos or something like, hey, I'll buy you tacos if you go to the range with me. Everyone, hey, Vision, hey, book club, everybody wants to go and get free tacos and shoot. Why do you think I do clay shoots? I go there, they're breakfast burritos. I shoot with my friends, right? We talk business, blah, blah, blah. And then full sleeve tattoos, both on, multicolored hair, facial piercings, anime. Lucky, I found that the people with the tattoos and the face piercings are some of the coolest people in the world. Honest to God. If you sit down and take the time to talk to folks, people are always a surprise. But yeah, folks, yeah, tacos, just be prepared to pay for a taco dinner or hamburger or something. Hell yeah. Who doesn't want, hey, is Mad Shad jump in here? Okay. No, it's Mad Dogs. Okay. Somebody said Mad. I was like, Mad Shad snuck in. Uh, yeah, Johnny, between Johnny, myself, Cold War, and the rest of us, I bet Vision has a bunch of good ranges. Lucky can point out ranges in Texas too. No, honestly, Lucky to me right now, it's more quality of person. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I think you and I are on the same wavelength with that. So anyway, folks, look, don't freak out. Don't panic about the Israeli thing and the Hamas thing. That's terrible. Watch what's happening. Learn those lessons from what you see in the footage. And we're not seeing everything. That's fine. So some stuff I'm sure we don't want to see. Understand what's going on at the ground level with them. At the same time, prepare yourself. You can go to the range for free and go to the gun store and just say, hey, I'm in the market, I'm new. What would you recommend? This is what I want to use this firearm for, and see what they recommend. Then go to another gun shop and ask the same questions. You go to two or three gun stores, and you're going to start finding out that you're going to get the same 3 or 4 pistols suggested for you, right? They made like Glock and a Beretta or whatever, right? You'll see the same brands coming up over and over. Then you can go to the range, write everything down, and then go to the range and say, okay, I want to rent these, and I need someone to show me how to use them. And then you physically shoot them before you commit hundreds of dollars to a purchase to see if that fits your hand, if it fits right. As for senior discount, oh yes, I think I'm over 50 now. I'm 50. Do I get a senior discount? Um, Hold on, Lucky. The range I go to, I'm friends with the owner. Oh yeah. Um, he's scared crazy. Wait, Cory Booker, the congressperson. Even I've shot at 50 cal. But actually, I almost got my hands on a B&D launcher, 37 millimeter, legal, paperwork and everything. But somebody beat me to it, so I'm quite salty about that because that would have been fun to attach to the bottom of one of my ARs and then go and get thrown in jail by the sheriff. But that would have been fun. Shot my Glock 19. She wants a pink one. Syracodum Vision. Check out my friend here in Texas. I don't know if you can ship here, but Syracode chick. She's done several of Sassy's pistols, and that's bonded to the metal, and it's imp launchers. But anyway, guys, ladies and gentlemen, don't freak. Oh, good, they have ladies there. Yeah, check the ranges, but watch the market. My big concern personally, other than again the random terror attack or the hack, would be one, big banks taking a dump, which is very possible to happen, Two, the energy or supply chain gets screwed up because Iran gets involved. And if Iran gets involved, they're going to mess with the shipping out of the Middle East with their little gunboats and disrupt everything. And that's going to spike energy prices. It's going to screw up the logistics and supply chain through the Suez. And that's going to cause availability issues, right? So look at what you have this week. Take an hour a night, 30 minutes, and just pick a subject. I'm going to check pasta. I'm going to check canned goods. I'm going to check ammos. I'm going to clean my pews. I'm going to fill up the tank. Pick one. Don't get crazy. Don't run up credit cards unless you are prepared to pay them off relatively quickly so you don't get clobbered with that interest rate. I have an older Glock, and every time I go to the range, people always try to. So the Gen 3 Glocks or Suburban are considered the best. The 4 and 5, I'm not a Glock guy, but from what I've been told, the 4 and 5, the newer generations, were not as well made as that. And so a lot of people are actually trying to find the Gen 3. So if it's a little older, that may be why. Now, Palmetto State Armory made what's called a Dagger, which is basically a Glock 3 clone. Now that the Glock 3 patent has run out, they can do that. It doesn't look at all alike. It fits the Glock mags, and they run about $300. Hayes Gray Prepper actually got his hands on one, and he's rolled 500 rounds through it. He loves it. He says it's a great little carry piece. But again, you got to do some homework there. Maybe go check them out. But I think that's why it's Gen 3 clocks were considered ergonomically and the design, even though they all look kind of the same at surface, was one of the best ones, with the one exception, the Glock 19X I heard was really great. But again, yeah, that's probably what it is. It's if it's a Glock 3, a Gen 3, it's going to be considered a classic. They a lot of people are saying that was like the best design they had internally and externally. So anyway, folks, I'm going to leave you here, but pay attention to what's going on. Watch the markets. Watch the markets. Watch how everything plays out. I'm afraid fuel and logistics are going to get screwed up long before something comes home. I could be wrong. God, I hope I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. Sorry, I said that backwards. Because I don't want to wake up and find out, like, a city is on fire somewhere because, Al Qaeda or some other asshole blew something up. Pay attention and watch the prices of things. Take some pictures of the stuff you normally buy, of their price, and just, price compare. But right now, I would stay, again, more in the defensive mode. Watch your prices. Don't run up credit. Check your inventories. If you're a little low on C batteries, go get that. That's a cheap prep, relatively speaking. And don't make yourself crazy. There's really nothing we can do there, but we can watch and learn. If I get any footage from any folks I've been talking to, or on Twitter, well, X now, X or some of the other platforms, I will try to share them as shorts so you folks can kind of see what other people are seeing. And then think about, okay, if I was in that car, if I was in that situation, how would I handle it? Am I missing something? Right? So play that. I think Hudson was doing a off schedule Monday night, so he may be coming on here shortly. If he's not already on, he may be 5 minutes in. He's either 5:30 or 6:30. I can't remember. So go say hi to Hudson. Tell him I sent you. Um, and you guys be safe out there. Calm down, relax. He's doing a lot 10 minutes ago. Okay, so he started a little while ago. Okay, so I'm going to jump off. You guys be safe. Be careful out there. And yeah, and apparently the potatoes are ready for battle or for dinner. Take your pick. Anyway, you guys be good, be safe. God bless. And I will see you.